I love the smell of tuna in the afternoon. Hi, Misha here. And last year, Jero and I took the tactical tuna out, the FS2000. I had picked up one of these years ago, sold it to actually Jay's father-in-law. Kind of missed it. He didn't want to sell it. But then another one came my way. And in that video, I said, you know, my mind had really changed. And kind of like shooting it now. As odd as this gun is. But this is the so-called standard model with the optic. This came in the shop, so I can put this in a way. It's short but chunky. And I thought we'd talk about this.
Oh my god, it's so normal looking.
This is the FS2000 Tactical CQB model. This actually is what I'm handling as a transfer for a customer. And it's actually a late production model. The standards are all in the 36,000, 38,000 range. This is almost at the tail end of full production, around 88,000 something. And the last known serials are like 89. So this is one of the last ones ever made, probably in 2013, maybe 2014. And it's an interesting contract overrun example with a difference in the barrel. But we'll get there. And we'll talk about some other differences besides. Thought this would be fun, and it's a nice afternoon to hang out and talk tunas. But first, if you could, please do like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like to help support the channel, please check out the link to the Patreon. With that, let's dive under the waves. Let's talk serials, because these were done in blocks. I actually bought one of the first ones that came in green. Originally, black was meant to be the limited edition, and green was the standard. FN was doing this for a while, not just with the FS2000, but its brother, the PS90, and cousin, the 5.7 pistol. And those had serials in the 500 to just over 1,000 range. So the first production run was pretty small. And a friend of mine had bought one new, and I actually got it off of him back in 2006, again, early days, kind of paying him off, because it was a bunch of money back then, at least to me, and yeah, but I thought it was an odd bullpup. Now, it had the standard forearm, but of course, this is all modular. But it was the tactical model. They said that the standard would be coming out, but it would take some time. The next production run would be from roughly serial number 20,000 up to roughly 29,000. As far as I know, these were black. There might have been some green ones mixed in, but otherwise, same with the rail. The next run would be 50,000 to roughly 59,000. And these would have one small but noteworthy change. They would have a reinforced charging handle, cocking handle, because this piece, as you can see, it's a multiple piece system. And you're locking it back and stuff. This was, by that point, a known failure. So when people would buy extras, you know, spare parts for this gun, the charging handle was at the top of their list. And I actually had a couple of friends that had theirs break. So it wasn't, I don't think they were breaking as often as people kind of led the internet to believe, but they did. So that was the major change there. But this run, again in the 88,000, was from 80,000 to 89,000, and these were said to be contract overrun. It seems like they were using up leftover parts in 2013, maybe into 2014, which was really the end of production. And the barrels on these are not chrome lined. As far as I know, they're still cold hammer forged, and they still have the pinned on muzzle device. Where's the pin on this one? Oh, it's on this side. Sorry, little pin there. The reason they do that, the barrel by default is exactly 400 millimeters, which is just right on the line, even maybe a hair too short. So to make them legal for import, they pin this flash hider muzzle device on, which brings the barrel length almost to 17.5 inches, so legal for import. So it's kind of interesting that the final run had non-chromed barrels. As for the standard over here, these were only in one series as far as I know. This one's serial is in the 37,000s. which is right in the middle. They seem to have started around 36,000 and ended in the 38s, maybe 39,000. And that, as far as I can tell, was the only production run of semi-automatics with this style of optic. Kind of interesting. 2000.
I guess there's nothing to hold open, huh?
Not really. So as far as sighting, the tactical, of course, its primary system is a true 1913 rail made of steel, slightly raised. We do have a adjustable front post with protective ears. And then for the rear, we have a flip popsicle style sight. It's adequate. But, of course, everyone wanted the standard version because it's more unique looking. It really is.
That's one way to put it.
And see, for the military, you have a 1.6 magnified optic, so about like an AUG, but you have computers and stuff in there to work with the grenade launcher. But I know this is going to be a shocker. In the USA, even, we don't usually have civilians with grenade launchers. So even though it has the outer shell, complete with backup iron sights, non-adjustable notch, but, you know, they're there. It looks a lot more impressive until you take this off. And then you got this little optic on here. Now, one thing firearms have really come a long way in since the 90s and early 2000s are optical devices, both in terms of quality and price. This wasn't a horrible optic when it was first introduced in the early 2000s, but compared to what's available today, it kind of is. Plus, some people have reported it not holding zero, shifting, yada, yada, yada. And this rail it's on is not a true 1913. It's kind of a Weaver style, and it's plastic. So, yeah. It's not as cool under the hood as you might expect. So, people who were just buying these to shoot quickly decided that the tactical was the way to go. But of course, this gun has entered into the realm, you gotta kind of get it on here maybe, of collectability. And when collectors want it, they want this, because this is the iconic military version. I will get this. You see, it's kind of fit. It comes off real easy. There we go. You kind of, I squeeze it in the middle and it popped on, which is good. It is tight, which is good because it does have backup iron sights on it, and it's also rubber coated. So yeah, it looks a lot cooler until you take its top off. But because only a few thousand of these ever came in and tens of thousands of the other, you know which one is going to be collectible. By the way, you notice the sling swivels are different. This has dual HK style hooks in the front instead of a swivel. The rear is the same, pass through the stock. And this one has both forearms. They did sell these tri-rail CQB forearms separately, or you could get them from the factory as a kit, or with both. It is neat. It's metal. It also includes this trigger guard piece, and it does give the gun a more conventional look. So, yeah, probably a lot more practical, but there's something about the bloated tuna over here that you can't beat. The dimensions on both are the same. Same barrel length, nice compact bullpup, on 28.5 inches overall. This one, with the optic and standard handguard, is right at 8 pounds. You know, not bad considering that does account for the optic. Bullpups aren't necessarily known for being light, they're known for being compact. The tactical model, even though it has a metal rail, when you have the standard handguard on, it's about 7.5 pounds. But of course, once you put your own optic on, that's going to jump up to 8 again too. Now, of course, with this tri-rail, it is actually lightweight alloy. I give them credit. With this tri-rail, it's a very balanced gun. It doesn't feel front heavy at all, but it does add weight again. So technically, if you had this on and an optic, you've got an over 8-pound gun easily, 8.5, maybe even 9 if you're doing like the big optic or a magnifier and red dot. So these are not light guns, and they're obviously not slim, but they are short. And of course, they have the unique ejection system here. This tube where the shells get put into can hold up to 5 before they go shooting out. Here's my ejection. As to magazines, these guns were designed to be sealed up. Ambidextrous, which they're not 100% successful with because of the charging handle only on this side, but safety is. And no bolt hold open at all, except the manual one here. But anyway, FN stopped making them by 2014 and actually removed them from their website entirely in 2019. Now that either model's entered into the realm of collectability, I wouldn't suggest you go modify them. Just my opinion. But I did want to point that out on the magazine front. They're not compatible with modern mags. But then again, when this gun was developed in 2000, 2001, mag pulls didn't exist yet. So it's hard for a gun to be made to take something that's 10 years off or 5 years, whatever mag pull was. But I thought that was well worth pointing out. So that's about it, guys. I just thought it would be fun to kind of compare the FN FS2000 standard to the FN FS2000 tactical or tactical CQB. Again, last year we did a very in-depth video on the history, the mechanics, looking at trigger packs, shooting, so you can check that out. But this one was just hanging out outside on a nice day. Which one do you like better? This style? Or slings, the tactical style? Kind of interesting to see how time might change that. I think they're both cool. But yeah, I do like the standard more. It's iconic, but practically speaking, this is the one to shoot. It's also the cheaper one on the market. These days, the standards, because so few came in, are pretty crazy. Even the tacticals are not cheap anymore. I'm going just totally off memory and spitballing again. I'm not selling them. This one wasn't bought off me. I'm just handling a transfer for a customer. But it seems like the standards are 2,000 to 2,500. And, excuse me, the tacticals are 2,000 to 2,500, and the standards are 4,000, 4,500, maybe even more now, because I haven't really looked at them in a while. Which was funny, because at one time, CD&N was blowing out the standards for 1,400 new shipped, and you could get the tacticals for a little bit less than that. Not significantly less, but around 1,200. But when they first came out, they were a lot more expensive, over $2K, and in 2006 money, that was big bucks, I'll tell you. But it was an interesting stage in bullpups, in between the classic AUG and FAMAS, and well before the modern Tavor and VHS2 / Hellion and that generation. So you don't see many guns of this generation. The Bushmaster M17 comes to mind, which we've done a video on a long time ago too. But I like things that are mechanically interesting, and at the very least, this one is. It even has the famous toilet bowl, so you can see its gobbledygook working back there. Some people also like to buy spare parts for whatever the hell you call this lifter thing. If you like unique guns, it definitely fits that bill. Anyway, if you own an FS2000, let us know. And we recently did a video on the PS90 looking with the new Fiocchi ammo and letting Fox try it out. I do want to have Fox try out the FS2000 sometime soon as well, so that'll be fun. With that, if you could, like, share, and subscribe, and like to help support us, you know where Patreon's at. This is Misha, and we'll catch you very soon next time.
I got mine surplus from Planet Clandathu. Never fired, only dropped once.
Quit taking those mushrooms, man. Yeah, see, the standard is just, it's fussy, but also strangely cool. Come on, what am I doing wrong? Those yelling at home will be happy.